Wow. Okay. We are 12 hours removed at the time of recording this. By the time you see it, you guys are going to be 24 hours removed from the biggest change that Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes has ever had. This is crazy. Caught me off guard. Came out while I was actually busy. I had to rush home. Fire up a live stream. Thank you to the couple thousand of you guys who stopped by that. That was an awesome event. Live stream versus video. We had time to dissect everything, talk to chat, see how people were doing. That being said, I want you guys right now, before I give any commentary, any opinions, I want you guys to go in the comment section. I want you to say how this is going to affect you. Is this a good change? This is the bad change? And talk about in your comment. You can go into detail. I have some time to read these and reply to these. Talk about, your GL numbers, your GP, your overall roster depth, whatever metric that you guys use to judge, where your account is at, and then therefore from there, how this is going to affect you. Because there are some players I know this is going to be a huge boost to. A lot of players are going to love this because it's fantastic for them. A lot of players are actually going to be pretty pissed about this because it takes away some of their key strengths and makes them a weakness. So quick, 30-second, 1-minute general overview about what actually happened. I'm sure all of you guys know what happened. This is not going to be like a boring read through like you saw some other videos. Basically, they're restructuring GAC. There's 5 leagues. Each league has 5 divisions, and you can go up and down depending on your skill level. We made a joke in the stream. They call it skilled-based matchmaking. I called it money-based matchmaking. To a certain extent, it kind of is, because if we go down to this chart right here, which you guys should be able to see, based on GP, my account that I use for YouTube is 4.05 million, 4.1 million GP. I will start in Chromium 3. And from there, as far as crystals are concerned, I actually lose a bunch of crystals because of this. So the account I use for this video is actually one of the accounts that's going to be negatively impacted by this change. Nicole's free-to-play account, the greatest free-to-play account of all time, is actually going to be one where it's going to be a huge benefit to her. It's going to be a huge boost to Nicole's account. Not in terms of, crystals, because it is going to be a crystal increase for Nicole's 1.4 million GP account, but just general, quality of life, because her account punches up in GAC way higher than just, a normal 1.4 million GP account. So I find that for a lot of people, the guys talking in chat when we had our live stream the other day, a lot of people that have kind of followed that APGAINS approved core teams and that APGAINS approved farming strategy are actually sitting in a really nice, comfortable position to benefit immensely from these changes. But a lot of people in the comment section, or in the chat rather, who are saying, I rushed C or I rushed SLKR, they're kind of in that limbo, this is going to be a huge, dock to me. This is going to be a huge downside, for having rushed to Galactic Legends, for instance. And we're going to try to figure out, is it completely the end of the world? I mean, you're going to be losing a ton of crystals. GAC is going to be probably a lot harder for you guys as well. So that's definitely one of the categories of people who are going to be hit pretty hard. So, I mean, I'm sure there's people, and let me know in the comments, of course, who have those certain rush accounts, but they've done some other stuff. They have some other good teams, and, they can maybe hold their own in GAC. And they're okay with losing those crystals, and they think this change is fine. And I don't want to, cast my opinion onto you guys. I'm just a funny, beautiful 5'3" man on the internet, telling you, how this breaks down for different people throughout the game. And then who does this benefit? Kind of the only people it really benefits, if we look down at the chart here, is like Kyber 2 and Kyber 1, because they're the only 2 people that average more than the 500 daily crystals you get for first place. So the only people who are actually seeing a baseline increase in terms of crystals from getting rid of Squad Arena and replacing it with the GAC changes is going to be those Division 2 and Division 1 players for Kyber, which, as we've established, is purely money-based, because that's going to be 6.5 to 7.26 million GP for this area right here. And it's not like, only the whales can be there. I'm sure there are tons of players who have been playing for 6 years, who have not necessarily free-to-play, some free-to-play, of course, but have, accrued GP, relatively light spending in relation to like a Kraken or a whale or someone who spends thousands and thousands of dollars every month or every year. So for those players, maybe just the benefit of having been playing for years and years and years is going to put them in a comfortable position where, they're not going to see that decrease in crystals from Squad Arena really take too much a hold. Kind of that middle mark, I would say I would say like mid bronzium to like mid erodium is probably where there's going to be the biggest hit. Because these are the type of players right here in this 2.4 to like 5.0 million GP, where, you know, they're getting first place in Squad Arena, or at least close, very likely, depending on what teams and stuff like that. But also they're going to be kind of like gated. So like bronze, so like for my account, for instance, can't get Executor because Razor Crest is not farmable. Have Kenobi but not Cat because I just hit 4 million GP. You know, first place in Squad Arena, first place in Free Arena, dominate GAC. So in theory, as of currently constructed before these changes take place, my account is in the perfect position to be successful. Nothing has gone wrong. We've taken a ton of care to diligently prepare and create this account so that we don't, you know, have any hindrances. So I'll go into Chromium 3, and I'll probably pretty quickly come to Chromium 2. And then, you know, at 4.5 million GP, I can battle people with 500, 600k GP higher than me just by having, you know, a solid account and, you know, being a fairly good GAC player. The problem is, like, what about Erodium when I go up to, like, that 4.6, 7, 5.0 million GP? At this point, players have been 4 million GP longer than I have, either, you know, having spent money or just played the game longer. You know, they have the Cats so that the Kenobi leans towards them. They have the Executor, so, you know, I can't beat their Executor. That maybe they have 3 GLs to my 1 and an Executor to my none. And then I get to the point where I can't climb past, say, Chromium 1 or Erodium 5 because at that point it's just purely GP based. And this change, you know, in like a shooter game, I used to play a bunch of FPS games. You know, if you were the best player, you know, I could always get to Diamond or whatever the highest league or whatever ranking, depending on the game that you played. You could always get there. You know, you played better players, but if you were the best, you could climb. Here, you know, if you give the best player in the world, whoever that may be, my account, they can only climb basically as far as I can climb. I'm a very good player, but I'm not, you know, the greatest player who ever lived. We're going to climb to about the same situation because we're going to come into a couple of roadblocks. Instead of being able to get, you know, top 10 Kyber for division, whatever I was in beforehand, now I'm never going to be able to see Kyber. I probably won't even see Erodium 4 for quite a while, simply because they got more teams. It's kind of the same predicament that early game players find themselves in, you know, in this Carbonite Bronzium era, is like, you just, you know, if you go up against an opponent and you have, you know, some teams, you're rushing SLKR, for instance, you have a first order team, and maybe you even were smart, and you have a CLS team and a Padme team, and, you know, maybe a Jedi Knight Revan team. And then you go against a guy with a Darth Revan team, with a Malak, a Jedi Knight Revan team, a CLS team, a Padme team, a Bounty Hunter team, a Geo team, a Traya team, a Darth Vader solo. You have the best mods in the entire world. You can be the absolute best player in the world, but you're just out-teamed, so you have no chance. And I feel like that is usually excluded or exclusive to the earlier stages of the game. And now it's the entire GAC as a whole. Because as we've said, like, I get to the 5 million GP mark at Erodium 3, and a 5 million GP player has 3 GLs to my 1. Maybe I get 2 and he has 4, so it's 4-2. Maybe I have Executor and he does as well. You know, I don't have off meta GL counters, so I save both of my GLs for offense. He places all 4. I kill 2. I can't kill the other 2. He, you know, didn't place anything on the back wall. He blows through me. Because of the banner changes, you know, he wins, and I get bumped back down to Erodium 4 or Erodium 5 or wherever it is. So I feel like a lot of players are going to come into a situation like I talked about on stream where, like, let's say I'm Chromium 1, 4.5 million GP, I'm punching up about 500,000 GP, right? I get to Erodium 5 because, you know, I'm outclassed in terms of teams, but, you know, I pull off a miracle run. I do everything that it takes to do. I win key matchups. I clutch off meta counters, and I make it up to Erodium 5. And then in Erodium 5, I come across players who, you know, out-GL me by 1 or 2 or maybe even 3, just depending on how their GP is structured. And then I'm just getting absolutely blasted. I'm getting absolutely blasted, and I'm not having any fun, and I just get absolutely pooped on. And then at the end of the season, I get bumped down back, or under the week, I get bumped back down to Chromium 1. And then, you know, I'm fighting for my life. I do really good. I have the best GAC of my life. I'm super happy. The streams are great. I'm riding a crazy high. I bump back up to Erodium 5. The exact same thing happens. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of this back and forth when players, especially players with really good accounts, who are really good players, find that like absolute maximum they can climb, they're going to go above that because of, like a really good GAC month performance. And then they're going to fall back down the next one. And then they're going to go up. And then they're going to fall back down every single time. So I feel like that's my biggest concern as far as this whole, how they chose to rank out, the divisions and the leagues and stuff like that. And from a certain extent, I understand it. You want to incentivize people with larger rosters. Larger roster players have either been playing for longer or have spent more money. And CG, what are the two things they want? They want your money and they want your time. So from a development standpoint, this sort of system makes a ton of sense. From a competitive standpoint, I think it's kind of cheap, and I don't really think it really has that competitive spirit attached to it. But that's just my opinion. As always, let me know in the comment section. Two things. We're trying to get 15,000 subscribers. We'll sneak in a CG headquarters, steal their laptop, give everyone one cup shard. It will be great. Also, meme review with Arnold is coming up, and since we have a bunch of big changes, I want some spicy memes. r/APGAINS. I'll try to put the link in the description, but I might forget. Comment or tag me on Discord if I forget to put it there. As always, guys, I love you guys, and I'll see you later.